sometimes we put ourselves into a smaller box that will fit inside that matchbox and keeps everything nice and neat and controlled. Just blow the sides off the box, the God box and the you box. Allow yourself to become totally immersed in what God has for you. Look at those 4 little animals and how relentless and hungry they are in pursuing after what they need in their life, and apply that principle to your walk with God. Many people see this PC world as the biggest enemy to the church. Oh, we're powerless. No, didn't Jesus warn us? Isn't it in the scriptures? Just forget about that. Don't allow that to distract you. Don't look at governments, woe is me, or look at the 12th coming up in peacetime and it's all going to go. Don't let that distract you from who your God is. Don't let that distract you. The enemy will put these things in front of us and we'll be like, oh, we need to pray for him. You know what? You pray for church. You pray for your family. You pray for God to move, and that'll spill out. That'll spill out, and it can't help but change the nation you're in. It can't help but change the area that you live in. If we allow ourselves to be a vessel for God, an empty vessel, and we stand in below God's outdoor tap. When I'm out in the back garden feeding the ferrets and I've got the bucket outside the tap, I turn it on full blast and I walk away. And what happens? The water stirs up, and then it fills up, and then it overflows, and the area around it becomes wet, and the water tries to get into every crevice and every nook that can find and fill things. And if we have the same principle, if we come before God, an empty vessel, hungry for him, and say, God, fill me, and he pours out a blessing from heaven, and we fill up, and it overflows. And the next thing, you're hitting the person next to you, and they're starting to get splashed and wet, and they're like, oh, and the next thing, they can't move away from it. And they're covered, and they're getting wet, and it's passing on. And God gets to move over like a domino effect. And then you can worry about the nation, because they'll be able to see how God has changed your life, and God has revived your life, and God has made you into something more than what you were, and there will be nothing else but an effect from that. The treacherous enemy facing the church today is routine and contentment. When routine becomes the Lord of our life, programs are organized and prevailing conditions accept it as normal. We all know the dangers, especially those that have been married for a long period of time, how dangerous it is for a relationship when you get into a rut or a routine. When you just become daily chores. When you don't come home and give her a hug and tell her you love her. When you don't buy a bunch of flowers and you get the old, what have you done? Nothing, Pet, I just love you. When you don't do things like that, whenever that relationship becomes routine, that's dangerous territory. And the same with our relationship with God. Whenever you don't turn around in the middle of the day and just say, God, you're good. And he said, thanks. I wasn't expecting that from you. You don't normally do that. When you don't sit down in the middle of a crazy day in work and just pick up your word and go, I needed that. Clinton's reading the Bible at work. What's that all about? God's surprised. Imagine taking God by surprise because you break the routine. You break the monotony of your life, your relationship with him.